So guys, I'm not sure how good this is going to work, but we're going to give it a shot. And when we set our clearances up, the preload was supposed to be at 62 thousandths. Let's see. Right on the money. Here we go. Welcome back to Bad Attitude C10. Well, today we're going to do something a little different. I'm going to run out to the shop and go ahead and pull one of the valve springs, or actually I'm going to do cylinder one, both valve springs off. And go ahead and double check, because I need to be sure which size guides that I actually have on my heads. That way we have the proper spring locators, and I can get a shim kit and of course valve seals. So I'm going to go ahead and do two things. I'm going to go ahead and set up a dial indicator and see what the preload was actually set at after we did our math and got the push rods that we had previously, and see if they do come out close to where we set them. And I'm going to show you guys how to use this cool little height gauge or Valvespring micrometer from BTR. And we will get more in depth on using this in the future, because we will go and set every one of our valve spring heights up on the engine whenever we put the new cam and stuff in. So let's get to it. Now, a lot of y'all already know that I did have to put my companion Ashley down of almost 13 years due to health issues. If any of y'all have not watched the video, please take the time to go over there and like and comment if you have any tips for getting over this grief. So guys, we're going to start off by removing the valve cover, and as I stated earlier, I'm just going to do the valve springs on the number one cylinder so we can get some measurements, and I figured I'd play around a little bit and do some checking on some other stuff. So we're going to go ahead and remove this valve cover real quick and go from there. So as you can see here, we originally measured our push rods in another video, and we came out with the length that we needed, and we added the clearance for the lifters to it, and that's what we found. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to go back, and on these front two rocker arms that I'm going to pull off to get to the valve spring so I can measure the guides and check their installed height and everything, I'm going to go ahead and try to set up and see if there's a way to check the preload with the dial indicator on the back side. Now, as you can see, I didn't really have a lot of places I could try to stick it with, this being aluminum intake, aluminum head and everything. I even tried to use the rocker arms and some of the mounting bolts, and I couldn't find anything. So came up with an ingenious idea, and I got a piece of angle iron, and I actually mounted it up where my injectors would go. So once I figured out a way to hook this up, I went on ahead and checked the intake valve preload. And as you can see, there's a little bit of a glare and everything, and we were shooting for like 62 thousandths, and it came out a little over 70 thousandths, but it stopped at that point. And I also realized that the gauge itself, the needle popped into the oiling hole of the push rod, so that could have affected our measurement just a hair. Now, on the exhaust one, I paid a little more closer attention, and I apologize for the glare with my shirt in it, and I didn't know if it was going to work. And again, our original settings and preload were right at 62 thousandths, and this one, it comes out, as you'll see here, pretty much right dead on the money. So let's go on ahead to the next step. So up next, I had to go ahead and remove all the stuff for the dial indicator and get the stuff loosened up to remove the rocker arms. And in addition to removing the rocker arms, I need to remove the mounting stud for the valve cover that's going to be between the number one cylinder intake and exhaust rocker arms. Now, while I was here, I went on ahead and ran down the head and loosened up all the rocker arms that were up at rest with no spring pressure on them. Again, guys, I'm a stickler for this. I do not believe in loosening these bolts up when they're under spring pressure. I do not want to pull any of these threads out of these aluminum heads. So after I loosened up and backed off the ones that were not loaded with spring pressure, I rotated the crank around until I got the other ones up to where they had no spring pressure, and then I went on ahead and loosened them up and removed the bolts for those rocker arms. Now, lucky for me, I had a friend that was needing a set of rocker arms with the trunnion upgrade, so Bubba is going to be the new proud owner of these that have not been ran since the upgrade. So they're basically rocker arms that are used with brand new trunnions, and Bubba is going to be the new owner of them. Now next, I'm going to go ahead and rotate my crank around and get my number one cylinder up to TDC, and that way we can start to get ready to remove our valve springs. Now if you notice, I just used a screwdriver and rotated around until I brought the piston up top dead center. Now I'm going to be using this valve spring compressor, which I've mentioned earlier, from Bluegrass Performance, and I'm going to show you briefly how to use it real quick here, and whenever we remove the rest of the valve springs, I'll get more in depth on it at that time. So this tool turns out to be a pretty awesome thing if you're in the LS world, and they also make them for other applications like, you know, Dodge and even small block Chevys and stuff like that. So give them a shout and check out what they got. So I'm going to start by putting the spacer and then the base and bolting it to the head, and then I'm going to use the portion of the spring compressor that goes above my valves and then tighten up the nut. Now guys, I've seen a lot of people use little electric, you know, impacts, nut drivers and ratchets and stuff like that. I like using a regular ratchet because then you can see what's going on. So if you watch right here, I start to go down and compress my valve springs, and they're not breaking free. So I went on ahead and just backed them off and had a little pressure on them and tapped it a couple times with a little dead blow, and the keepers and the retainers broke right loose. So then whenever I put the pressure back down on the valve springs, they popped right up. So using the magnet, I pulled the valve stem up and removed the keepers, and as you can see, the valve stems did fall down. But guys, I assure you, if you have the cylinder you're working on at top dead center, your valve stems are way longer than the amount of clearance you have for your valves to fall down. So they're not going to fall into your cylinder if you're at TDC. So I do not use air, I do not use rope or anything of that nature. Now guys, if you've already upgraded to the BTR style valves, seals, these guys are a little bit of a pain in the butt to get off versus a standard one. I just use a Knips version of channel locks that's smooth bore, and you can't squeeze it too tight or you'll be defeating the purpose. So you just got to get it in that right little sweet spot, and to where you're putting enough pressure to get a grip on it, but not enough to be pushing it up against the guide. Just work it back and forth, and eventually it will pop clear, as you can see here. So I'm going to go ahead and pop this other one off, and then we'll move forward. Now guys, this next little tool is going to be something I would highly recommend you pick up if you're going to be doing your own LS heads and setting up your valve springs and stuff like that. Because guys, when you're into shooting for good valve spring control, your installed height set and stuff like that is a must. That way, you know, once you set it up the proper height for the lift on your cam and everything, you're going to have proper coil bind clearance and all that. If you just stick them in kind of like a one size fits all thing, you can actually not have the exact, you know, clearances or tolerances, whichever you say it, that you actually do need. So I figured what I'd do is I'm going to show y'all how to use this tool. It's a valve spring height micrometer from BTR, and measure and see exactly where the machine shop had my original installed height set up for the cam that we originally had in this motor, and see how far off it was. So we're going to start by measuring the exhaust valve, and if you can see, I used a magnet, pull the stem up, and I put the locks in. And dude, you do have to hold your tongue right on this and get everything there. So you're going to use the retainer that you're going to be using with the valve springs that you're using. Make sure when you set your height up, you're using the exact retainer and locks that you're using on the final product. So since these were the locks and retainers used when the heads were, you know, set up originally, I'm going to check my installed height with them. So what we're going to do is we're going to put them on there, and then I'm going to hold the top, and I'm going to rotate it around right now so you'll be able to see the gauge on it. And when this thing is fully collapsed, it's at 1.500 inches. So what we're going to do is we're going to see where the installed height was, and you're going to see a lot of people will say, hey, hit the valve stem and do this, do that. I get mine snug and then just grab it, and I kind of raise up on it, and then I turn it again and make sure the locks are seated in the retainer and everything. And this is where we ended up on this. And just to show you how accurate this little tool is, I'm going to put it in about like the same spot. I did record this right after removing it out in the shop, but it didn't come through, so go figure. So we're going to make sure the caliper's zeroed, and then we're going to measure this, and I'm going to show you exactly what I wrote down and where this came out. So it's showing, once I get it all dialed in, that it is at 1.758. Now, as you can see here, while I was in the shop, I measured a 1.757 by eyeballing it and everything and using the stem. So it actually came out pretty damn close. So our original installed height would have been the lift, which was 638, plus coil bind total, which is 1.070, and then we'd add the coil bind clearance that was recommended to be ran by BTR, which was 0.060, and that yielded it to be 1.768. The actual installed height was at 1.757, And if you do the math, it came out to where it was actually at 49 thousandths instead of the 60 thousandths from Coilbind that they wanted. They also had installed a 0.15 thousand shim, which if I'd have left that out, Coilbind would have been perfect. The clearance would have been closer to 60 because it would have been at 64 thousandths. So we're going to go ahead and remove this, and then we're going to go ahead and go over to the intake side and see where it was sitting. Now guys, on the page that just went away, I did also include the information about the red hot cam, but I will share that with y'all in the future video when we do the installed height on the cam. Now, we're going to go ahead and move our height micrometer over to the intake valve and basically repeat the steps that we did on the exhaust. So I'm going to take the magnet and pull the valve stem up, which you can see comes up here, and then I'm going to place the locks in, which again guys, you might battle these locks a few times, and after you get used to it, it's not much of a pain in the butt. But I got fat little chubby fingers, so it's pretty much always a pain in the butt. But just, you know, be careful, and if you don't trust getting them in, you can always put a rag around there and everything. Now, if you notice, whenever I got that lock in, I could just let go of the pressure off the valve stem, and it fell straight into the retainer, and the locks were then pushed in up against the valve stem. This is another reason why I like not using air or rope, because whenever I'm putting the valve springs on, once I actually put the locks in, I can push down on the valve stem, and if I did the exhaust one first, it's pushed in and in place, and then it won't move while I'm doing the other one. So here we go. So this one, you're going to see that I'm going to pull up on it again after I first stopped, and this one still did have a little more room to turn because the locks weren't all the way into the retainer. So now we're going to get the finished number, and it is right here. And now I'm going to actually show y'all what the measurements were using a caliper, just like we did on the exhaust valve, and that information is coming up next. Now again guys, I'm getting this as close as I can in here at the workbench in the shop, or in the house instead of out in the shop. I did measure it outside, but again, it didn't get the footage. So here we go, zeroing out the caliper, and I positioned the height micrometer as close as to where it was as seen in the video as I could. And we're going to go ahead and check this and get it tuned in. And these deals do rock a little bit, so you want to get it to where it's steady until it holds. So with this one, I'm pushing in on it, and as you can see, it is at 1.748, and that's what we finished up getting in here. And as you can see, I actually had it at 1.747, which is pretty damn close. So the original camshaft had a 612 lift, so we added that to the 1.070 for Coilbind, and then BTR wanted, you know, the 60 thousandths of clearance for Coilbind clearance, so that brought us to the total installed height of a 1.742. The actual installed height was at 1.747 with no shim, so the total clearance was at 65 thousandths, which would have been safe. Now y'all remember, when we do the installed height on all the valves, I'll write it down and we'll do a comparison. They're not all going to be dead nuts on, because depending on valve jobs, how much seat was removed, and all that is going to dictate your actual installed height. So you just got to get it where you can get it, and I'll explain that more in the upcoming video. So let's go on to the next thing. So we're going to remove this micrometer real quick from the intake valve and love tap it so I can get the locks broken. And there we go with the magnet again, and pull it up, pull the locks off, and we're going to get rid of this tool and kind of get it out of the way for now. Now guys, what I'm trying to do here is I need to measure my guides, because I needed to find out if the guides were just factory diameter or if they were actually bronze guides, because this will dictate the hole that's in the shims that you use. And you want to be sure that your locators and shims are for the right guides that you're using. So in my case, they are factory. So now that I have that knowledge and input and information, I'm going to go ahead and order the proper stuff. And for now, I'm going to, you know, go ahead and throw this valve cover back on. And once the shims and stuff get here, I'll go over the valves, how to check, you know, Coilbind pressures, installed height pressures, and all that. And then we'll get it installed. So until next time, I'll see you then.